Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I am your co-host Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are continuing our first round prediction series with the Atlanta Falcons. But before we get into that, we have a special announcement. We are going live on YouTube April 27th at 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time to watch the 2023 NFL Draft. So be sure to mark your calendars, join us, provide commentary, and provide comments on what you think of the draft and the players that are being selected by the teams. Also, you can write in, ask us questions, ask about the Tracy Take, how the channel got started, or other NFL questions that you want to kind of hear what our takes are on that. So be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so you can get notified when we create new content, and also when we do go live on YouTube on April 27th. And Ryan, that being said, let's get into it.
Let's do
it.
The
Atlanta Falcons have been very busy this offseason with their checkbook at addressing a lot of positions, primarily on the defensive side of the ball. They have made a couple of trades, added some good players, really good players, actually. I'm really excited for what they have done so far in the offseason. And so I obviously, as the Falcons fan, the designated Falcons fan on this channel, I have my opinions, but I want to start with you and just kind of see, what do you think the Falcons should lean towards in the with the 8th overall pick?
So, again, I hate to be generic, but I think the Falcons are very much in a best player available mode. I think they did a good job of addressing the defense as a whole this offseason, bringing in Jesse Bates, not Draymond Jones. What's the guy from the Saints?
David
Onyemata. And then also trading for Jeff Okudah. I think that was really good value. And then they re-signed Caleb McGarry and who's the right tackle?
Caleb McGarry is right tackle. They extended Chris Lindstrom.
Chris Lindstrom, And so their offensive line is pretty solid on that right side. Jake Matthews is still on the left side. I do think they could target Peter Skoronski with that 8th pick. Peter Skoronski, while he is a left tackle prospect, he was a 5-star center out of high school, started his freshman year at Northwestern as a left guard, and then kicked out to left tackle for 3 seasons after Rashawn Slater left. So to me, he projects to be a really solid guard. I think he is the best guard prospect that we've had in the NFL draft since Quentin Nelson. And I think if the Falcons take him there at 8, that would be really good value. In our mock drafts that we just released, Jalen Carter was also there. And I think that's also a really good story pick as well. He's probably the best player in this class. He just has some of the off-field issues. There's going to be 4 quarterbacks who are going to be targeted pretty heavily in the top 8. And so I think there's a chance that some teams might pass on him for either a quarterback or his off-the-field issues, and he could fall to the Falcons there at 8. So,
no, it's very possible that could happen. Then they are in that position. In general, I'm very excited about what the Falcons have done in the offseason. It's been a while since I've had optimism going into a Falcons season. I think I can speak for a lot of Falcons fans out there who are watching right now. I think the 2023 NFL season, I think it's going to be a very good season for the Falcons. I mean, they aren't going to make the Super Bowl, but I think they can make the playoffs. I think they could potentially win a playoff game. I think Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot have done a great job. I think they've hit on some draft picks. I think they're going to hit on some more draft picks coming up here. Before I kind of get into my take, be sure to leave a comment on what you feel the Falcons should do at the 8th overall pick. And also to add, if Jalen Carter is there, because I agree with you, Ryan, talent-wise, that especially coming into it, like people were saying, he's probably like the best prospect, but the fact that he's a defensive tackle, it's not a top need for some of these teams. Falcons fans, leave a comment if you feel that the Falcons should absolutely jump on Jalen Carter if he's available at number 8, or if they should go a different route. My take on this is I feel any of the defensive positions available, I think would be a great pick if they wanted to take Jalen Carter. If they wanted to go edge rusher, if Tyree Wilson fell or if Will Anderson fell, love it. Absolutely. They wanted to address the secondary. I think that would be also great as well. Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon, I think, would be great fits. Maybe Brian Branch might be a little bit of a stretch, but I could get behind that for sure. the pick that I would want to see, though, and there's nothing against any of those other picks as well. And one of the reasons why I think that they might go this route is they have addressed the defense so much already and they haven't done too much on the offensive side of the ball outside. And that I can remember off the top of my head, don't have the list in front of me, but trading for Jonnu Smith at the tight end position. They've made some other like receiver signings and everything, like Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller, but nothing too major. And also not saying that the Jonnu Smith trade wasn't major, but I think they've addressed so much on that side of the ball. Great additions. Calais Campbell as well, an edge rusher that we didn't mention. Caden Ellis at linebacker, I think, is also a great addition. And I'm sure some other ones that just aren't immediately coming to my mind right now. But there's just that one clear spot that we haven't addressed yet, and that's that left guard position. I believe, if you can check this on me, if we've signed Elijah Wilkinson back to just another 1-year deal. But even then, though, that is still just a stopgap position. And I'm all for best player available. And I think that Peter Skoronski at number 8 could be up there as an overall best player available talent-wise. They could contribute to the team. And that's why I think if you go and get him, he can kick into that left guard spot with the potential if he'd want to kick out the left tackle. But if he's really good at guard, I wouldn't even worry about it. But I think
it looks like Elijah Wilkinson is now on the Cardinals.
Okay, then maybe maybe they haven't addressed the spot. Then I'm trying to remember. I thought I saw that they re-signed someone here, but even if that is the case, then now the left guard spot is definitely open. And I don't think Matt Hennessy is. That's just not panning out as much. Drew Dahlman seems to be a little bit better at center, and Matt Hennessy has been struggling a little bit. Jalen Mayfield has not panned out at all since he was picked several years ago. So getting a solidifier in that left guard position would, I think, solidify the offensive line, continue progress on the dominant season that the offensive line had last year. And with this Arthur Smith offense and how it is successful, it is through a run-first mentality. And Tyler Algier was a 1,000-yard rusher last year, and he didn't play in the first game, wasn't really utilized at all in the first couple games outside of that. Imagine now, though, with an even better offensive line in front of him and a full season worth of play, what his stats could be and what he can contribute. And I think that also would, with a young quarterback where you don't entirely all of what he has, but you know that there's some potential there in Desmond Ridder, you need to have the best offensive line in front of him. So it's in a unique position. I know with the Falcons were earlier, like let's say, and I say all this knowing like if Tyree Wilson is on the board still, I'm leaning toward Tyree Wilson. So this is all under the assumption that Tyree Wilson is not on the board. Will Anderson Jr. is not on the board. It is assuming that also Jalen Carter is also on the board, and I'm still making the argument. I think maybe you still go with Skoronski because you've already addressed the defensive line position a lot with Anya Mata, Calais Campbell as well, and I think that there are other defensive tackles that you can address later on in the draft, and so. It's a very unique position, and I will say I wouldn't even be opposed to maybe JSN. That might be a little early. I wouldn't hate it.
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say him and Drake London though. Drake London also kind of plays that big slot receiver role. I know he took snaps inside outside and he moved around a lot. I just don't know if
JSN would be. I mean, they could utilize both inside, but JSN would be the inside slot guy. I mean, and they signed. I mean, who would you rather have be your slot receiver right now, JSN or Scotty Miller?
Oh, JSN. That's
not even close. So it would be a huge improvement.
But if you're fighting between snaps between Drake London and JSN, it's like that's.
So I'll disagree.
Really close.
I'll disagree, and that's a discussion for I think a different time. I don't want to get too off topic. I think Drake London's an outside receiver with his height and I think he's an outside receiver. In my opinion, maybe if they used him inside as some of his versatility, but that doesn't mean he's not a pure slot receiver.
No. He's not. He's not a pure slot receiver. He has inside-outside versatility. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He is so good because he has inside-outside versatility, and if you bring in JSN, you kind of take away some of what you already drafted in Drake London. So I feel like they might shy away from wide receiver in the first round.
I believe they should shy away from it if they really liked him. It's like, okay, like I like the talent there. The one pick actually, and I'll say this, and I know there's been a lot of talk potentially about this. I love Bijan Robinson, and what he brings as running back, and he's going to be a great running back in the league. I do not want the Falcons to draft him at 8 because they can go and get – this is a deep running back class. Running backs don't win you Super Bowls nowadays. Like, they just don't win you Super Bowls. You get Isaiah Pacheco, as one of the best running backs. Jerick McKinnon also. Those guys fit the system really well, and they were not picked 8th overall. And nothing against Bijan Robinson, but you can get such better talent for guys that will last and improve the franchise for many more years more than what a running back would do right now. If he's available with our second pick in the second round, I'm running to Kansas City myself to go. He won't make it there. But if he is, I'm running to Kansas City to go submit the pick because that would be great. But at 8, though, you can go get the best offensive lineman in the class, the best secondary in the class, potentially the best defensive tackle in the class, or one of the best edge rushers in the class. That they have much longer careers. I think that they provide much more immediate impact value.
Yeah.
So that's very curious to hear what Falcons fans' thoughts are on that. I think that we're in a great position. I think 2023 is going to be a really good year for the Falcons.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think they're in a really good spot in the fact that they don't need any one particular thing. And yeah, I like what they're going to be able to do. I like the additions that they've made in the offseason. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap up the Atlanta Falcons there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and smash that bell so you get notified every time I create new content. Leave a comment down below on what you want to see the Falcons do at the 8th overall pick. And last but not least, Tyler and I, we're going live on April 27th. So if you want to go ahead and go over to our channel and hit that bell so we let you know when we go live for draft night, go ahead and do that, and we'll see you guys then.